Hello, this is Kate Trefon, your LexisNexis representative. I'm going to take a couple minutes today to talk to you about Boolean searching or terms and connector searching and how this can really change the way that you approach legal research. It's also going to fraction the time that it takes you to find sources. So it's definitely a skill that if you're not already competent or proficient in, you should certainly learn. First, I just want to point out on the LexisNexis homepage for Cardozo, I have updated the training calendar for the next 2 months. In particular, professional research certification and cost-effective training. Professional research certification is about a 45-minute class where, upon the completion of the class and an online take-home quiz, you will become certified in LexisNexis research. Your name will be on a national registry that employers can reference, and you can also include it as a line in the skills section of your resume. So that's definitely something that you should look into. Cost-effective training is 99% of the time mandated by large law firms. So if you are going to be a summer associate this summer, I highly suggest that you sign up for this. It covers bill back, pricing tools on LexisNexis, and basically what you can expect when using your LexisNexis ID over the summer. So these are on the homepage under training at my school, and you can sign up online or you can send me an email. Okay, so getting started. For those of you who've never used Boolean searching, it is kind of a shorthand, well, it is a shorthand language when you are entering your research terms. Now, one of the attractions of Lexis Advance is that you can use natural language or Google-like searching. So for the research novice or a 1L, it's an easy way to get started. However, for an upperclassman law student or certainly a practicing attorney, you're better than that. And using Boolean searching and terms and connectors is really going to shorten the time that it takes you to do legal research. And certainly once you become more experienced, it should not be taking you 2 hours to do something that you can pull up in 20 or 30 minutes. So what do I mean by Boolean searching? Well, a quick cheat sheet, if you go under the filters section in the red search box and look under advanced search, it's going to give you a list of all the terms and connectors, and if you select one, it will tell you what the function is, and then it will also show you an example of how to apply that. If you click add search, you can kind of create your own adventure, piece together your own Boolean search. So that's always available to you in here under the red search box. But I'm going to, for demonstrative purposes, show you a natural language search and the results that it pulls up. And then I'm also going to put together a terms and connectors search. So one of the topics that interests me is whether or not lethal injection, one of the death penalty sentences, violates the 8th Amendment under the cruel and unusual clause. So if we were to run a natural language search, it might look something like this. Does lethal injection violate the 8th Amendment? I'm going to run my search, and this is going to, so the search engine is going to search for these terms across all contents of Lexis. So cases, statutes, admin codes, etc., etc. We see here that in cases alone, we have over 10,000 results. Now, we could start using our filters on the left-hand side. We could apply our jurisdiction if there was a particular court that we're looking for, timeline, on and on. However, we're still going to have thousands and thousands of results, and this is what starts to gum up the works when you are researching, right? This just adds on extra time. So what we do instead is a Boolean search, and I'm going to type this and then I will explain to you each section of that Boolean search. So So starting at the beginning, you'll notice that I put lethal injection in quotes. That means that the search engine is only going to return results that have this exact phrase, all right? Whereas before, when we just did a plain natural language search, The search results were pulling up lethal and injection, but not necessarily together and not really necessarily in any relation in the body of the decision. Okay, so when you put quotes around something, you're going to ensure that the results return only those that have the exact phrase. Just a note, do not get too cute with your quotes. Don't go slapping them willy-nilly on sentences because you're not going to return results. I would limit quotations to legal terms of art. So, arguably lethal injection, you'll see here cruel and unusual, fiduciary duty, breach of contract, anything like that is safe to put quotations around. Okay, \P is going to give me within the same paragraph. If I were to use \S, it would give me within the same sentence. Alternatively, I could also use \25 and it would give me within 25 words. You can, as you start to practice your terms and connectors, feel out what results you want. How closely related do you want these terms to be? So a safe bet is to start with paragraph. The algorithm reads a paragraph as about 150 words. It reads a sentence as 25. Okay, cruel and unusual in quotes, or torture. When you separate words with the word or, that implies synonyms. So you should constantly be thinking in terms of synonyms, right? Cruel and unusual is arguably a synonym for torture. When you are running searches, if you were to only use cruel and unusual, however, there's a decision out there that talks about lethal injection as a form of torture that violates the 8th Amendment, then you're going to not want to miss out on that. So always use the terms and connector or to separate out synonyms. Okay. And actually, I forgot a term. So and is going to give you a mandatory term. So anything that follows and is going to have to be returned in the results. So whereas we can find results that talk about torture or results that talk about cruel and unusual, and maybe results that have both of them, when you use the word and, it's going to mandate a term. So here I have the root violate. You'll see that I've put an exclamation point on the end. What an exclamation point does, it's a root expander, and it's going to give me all the possible iterations of the word violate. So violation, violating, violated, you get the idea. Here I have \S, right, within the same sentence as, and I can actually put quotes around this as well, 8th Amendment. Okay, so let's run my search and see how we do. All right, 735 results, down from over 10,000. I did not point out before, but you'll notice that Bayes v. Rees was the top case in our 10,000 plus results, and it's the top case here. We're sorting by relevance, so this means that Bayes v. Rees is probably a safe bet to start looking into. If I wanted to start applying my filters, because 735 is better than over 10,000, but we're still not reading 735 cases, right? Well, you don't have to, because you're probably going to be concerned with jurisdiction anyway. And if you look here, other than federal cases, we have single digits for most of the jurisdictions. That would be really, really manageable to cull through those cases. All right? Okay, now, finally, I want to show you two segment searches that I think are very useful. Segment searches are a way of creating your own kind of mini database that you can search through. So what do I mean by this? Well, for example, if I wanted to find decisions that were written by Judge Preska, who is a Southern District judge, and this is really useful if you are interviewing for a clerkship, that you can prep ahead of time and take a look at your judge's decisions, or oftentimes a supervisor or a senior associate or a partner will come to you and say, oh, there was just a decision that came down by so-and-so, why don't you go find it? The written by segment is going to limit case results to only those cases that were written by whatever judge you put in the parentheses. So let me show you what this looks like. I'm going to run the search. It's going to take me into cases. I have 1,507 cases that Judge Preska has written on. Now, Preska is a pretty unique name. If you have a more common judge's name, John Smith, I suggest that you put it in this format, John within 2 of Smith, and what the 2 is going to ensure is that if this person spells their name with a middle initial, you won't miss out on that if you don't, in fact, know the middle initial. Okay, so that's the written by segment. The other segment is the at least segment. So this is what I like to call our writer's block segment. If you are researching or writing a paper on, let's say, lethal injection, you really are going to want results that discuss lethal injection more than one time. You want that phrase peppered throughout the decision or the article, right? What the at least segment gives you is this phrase, whatever you put in parentheses, occurring at least and then whatever number you put after. I like to start with 5. You can certainly go higher. I recommend not going lower than 5 because you're really not saving any time, because 5 is a good jumping off point. Just keep in mind, if you go too high, you're going to get a little too precious and you're probably going to miss out on results. So here we have 842 cases that talk about lethal injection at least 5 times. Again, our case of Bayes v. Rees is on the top. All right, so those are 2 segments, and those are a couple of terms and connectors. If you would like to earn 400 Lexis points, which is worth $5, a $5 Amazon gift card, email me, and again, this is my email, an example of one terms and connector and where you can find a terms and connector on the Lexis homepage. Thanks, and have a great day.